I saved $1,800 by fixing my oven instead of buying a new one, and the only way that's possible is because I have a right to repair it. This is my GE 30-inch double wall oven. It gets a workout being in a house with 5 kids and a lot of cooking, and last year we had a bit of a scare. I didn't record this because I'm not a vlogger and my first instinct when something's burning is to fix the problem and not pick up a camera and record it. But long story short, we all smelled something burning, and when I opened the oven, the top roasting element was locked on with an error message F2, and it was hot enough to singe some of my arm hair. So I shut the door, ran downstairs, and turned off the main breaker. Then after it cooled down, we found these charbroiled muffins that you see in the picture here. I looked up the error code and found out that it means temperature runaway, and a lot of times that can be due to the thermostat breaking. So I bought a $30 replacement for this thing on Amazon and installed it. Now, this is the original thermostat that I took out, and I can actually check this thing to see if it's broken with my multimeter. Since it's just a piece of metal that changes its resistance with heat, you can measure the resistance at various temperatures just like the oven does. The more heat, the more resistance. You can see it's about 78 degrees Fahrenheit or 25.5 degrees Celsius in my room, and on the meter I'm reading about 1100 ohms. And if I warm the probe up in my hand, you can see the resistance go up. That checks out with this chart I found on Appliance 411, at least it's within the margin of error. So next I put it in a cup full of ice water, which should be right at 1000 ohms. If I wait for it to normalize, there it is, just about 1000 ohms. So that checks out too. It still could have a fault at higher temperatures, but I had a hunch that wasn't the problem, and I don't have a reliable way to test hotter stuff, at least not safely. I went ahead and installed a new thermostat, and we decided to only use the top oven if someone could be around monitoring it. I could throw a Zigbee temperature sensor in there and set up an alarm in Home Assistant, but well, those things are usually just plastic and they just melt. I did check things over with a couple cycles with my IR thermometer, and it wasn't broiling anything anymore, but we were still a little nervous. And a month later, it happened again. This time, my son ran downstairs and flipped the breaker since I was here at the studio. Now, while the oven cools down, let me tell you about this video's sponsor, Mint Mobile. If you're like me, you don't like paying extra money for something you don't need, and Mint doesn't need stores and salespeople. When you buy from them, it's all online and there's no pressure. Their prices are straightforward. You can pay in 3, 6, or 12-month durations, which saves on billing fees. The more months you pay at once, the more you save. But don't want to pay for a whole year at a time? No problem. You can bring your unlocked phone or buy a new one with Mint. You can keep your phone number too and do everything in your home with an eSIM. That's especially useful if you're like me and you have to babysit your oven for a while it's cooking. Every plan comes with a 7-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Who wouldn't want that? All their plans include unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network, free calling to Mexico, Canada, and the UK, and a wireless hotspot so you can share your data to your computer in a pinch. Use the QR code or the link in the description to sign up and stop overpaying for wireless just because that's how it's always been. With premium plans starting at just $15 a month, Mint helps you break the traditional wireless cycle. Now, back to the oven. After it cooled down, I popped off the top cover, which was easy enough because it only has a couple screws holding it in. And look at this, the thing includes its own schematics. It's like the people who made this oven were proud of it. They said, you know what, if someone wants to repair this, we're confident enough in our own design that we'll show them exactly how it works so they can do it. I wish this were more common in the tech world. The only people kind enough to do this nowadays are like open source hardware enthusiasts, like with the MNT Reform I tested a couple years ago. Anyway, I took the front panel off just to see what I was dealing with, and besides a bunch of dust from 10 years of daily use, everything else looked good. No burnt cables, no loose connectors. So after reading a few appliance repair forums, I found that the relay board is the next likely culprit. Because of the power involved, these relays can start welding themselves together. That's something that happens with a lot of relays. So I looked in the schematics, got the part number, and found a replacement from Part Select. GE actually still makes these things for repair jobs. It's like they want people to not throw out old appliances, but make them last longer and save them from the landfill. I mean, at this point, I'm kind of regretting replacing my broken dishwasher. I probably could have saved a few $100 and not had a dishwasher that requires an app just to run a rinse cycle. Anyway, the replacement was straightforward. The relays just have a bunch of blade connectors, and I swapped over all the plugs, popped out the old board, and popped in the new one. While I finish up the repair and test things out, let me explain how I got to the $1,800. Because I know what you're thinking. He didn't seriously pay almost $2,000 for an oven, did he? No, you're right, I didn't. I bought our double wall oven open box at Best Buy for about $850, but it would have cost $1,200 new, and that was in 2016, almost a decade ago. Inflation being what it is, a similar model today though is $1,900. But instead of having to spend almost $2,000 on a new one, I was able to fix my old one with just $110 in parts, even though GE discontinued my model years ago. And that's all because they respect my right to repair. They include schematics with their appliances, and not only that, they build parts that I can use to repair them. And not only that, but the parts are just off-the-shelf components. There's no parts pairing or complex apps and firmware that I have to modify just to link it to my oven. One reason I shudder whenever I see an appliance that connects to Wi-Fi is I just know that that's not there for my convenience, it's for the manufacturer. I mean, my dishwasher added Wi-Fi and dropped features like real buttons, then they hid things like the rinse cycle behind their app. Luckily, my GE oven came from a time when appliances didn't require internet just to bake a cake. Instead of scrapping this giant oven, it can live on another decade feeding our family, all because it's easy to replace parts like this relay board and a temperature probe. Thanks again to Mint Mobile for sponsoring this video, and to all my supporters on Patreon, GitHub, and Floatplane.